So you the
I'm Drake
streets.
Shooter.
You're the streets.
Yeah, I'm Drake Shooter.
Oh,
I'm not lying to you. Anybody disrespect Drake, I'm shooting you.
damn. Damn, okay.
One of the men convicted in the 2018 of rapper XXXTentacion is now appealing his conviction, and his legal team is focusing a lot of their attention on a major celebrity, Drake.
The guy who's suing him is a very famous producer and rapper, Detail, who he says that Drake organized a beatdown on him in his backyard. You know, Drake's famous backyard with the pool where he has all the parties.
I'm scared of Drake.
You scared of Drake?
Certain people, you gotta be scared of Drake. He not a fighter. Not a fighter, and he's powerful. He gotta be dangerous in some shape or form, fashion.
Drake might be taking one of the biggest L's of his career right now, becoming the internet's latest punchline, but there's a side to him that no one's laughing at, his alleged gang ties.
Drake do always got some new goons over there in that OVO camp.
I labeled myself as his goon, just so that it's stated, you know, I labeled myself as his goon. So that means, like, if you...
Yeah, I come to you if something happens to Drake.
We don't even really need to get into it, but yeah.
Yeah.
While some folks still think it's all cap, others are saying it's the real deal. Apparently, Drake is connected to some pretty dangerous people, and they don't play around when it comes to protecting him.
So you the
I'm Drake
streets.
Shooter.
You're the streets.
Yeah, I'm Drake Shooter.
Oh,
I'm not lying to you. Anybody disrespect Drake, I'm shooting you.
damn. Damn, okay.
On the surface, Drake's kept a squeaky clean image. He's known as one of hip-hop's nice guys, the type to host the ESPYs and charm the world with his humor and charisma. But if you dig a little deeper, it's clear there's more to Drizzy than meets the eye. For years, he's been tied to shady dealings, and it's hard to ignore the fact that violence seems to follow him wherever he goes. Sure, some of that could just be the downside of being one of the biggest stars in the world, but it also raises the question, are his mob ties more than just clever lines in his songs? And fast forward to today, we may now be witnessing just how dangerous Drake can be with the recent developments in the case surrounding XXXTentacion's Emder.
One of the men convicted in the 2018 of rapper XXXTentacion is now appealing his conviction, and his legal team is focusing a lot of their attention on a major celebrity, Drake.
Let's rewind a little to last year when news broke that there were efforts to subpoena Drake and make him testify about what he did or didn't know regarding XXXTentacion's death. It was all over the headlines at the time, and everyone was talking about it.
Is Drake responsible for the death of Florida rapper XXXTentacion? The Canadian artist was the subject of one defense attorney's opening statement.
But then, just as quickly as the story blew up, it went silent. Drake never had to appear in court, and the whole thing quietly faded into the background. Eventually, the KERs were convicted, and that seemed to be the end of it. However, during the trial, Dedrick Williams, one of the men convicted of X's Emder, had an attorney who stirred up more controversy. The lawyer pointed out that, before his death, XXXTentacion had made claims on social media suggesting that if anything happened to him, Drake would be behind it. Although X later retracted those statements, the defense tried to argue that Drake hadn't been properly investigated.
He came on social media and said, guys, before he dies, if anybody kills me, it's Drake. Do you think in that time span that they went and they addressed him, they talked to him? No. Here today, years later, any detective has ever asked, you know, Drake or anybody like that? No, they never did that. So you ask yourself, how could that be?
The prosecution, on the other hand, shut those claims down, stating there was no solid evidence connecting Drake to the crime. A judge even denied a previous request to force Drake to give a deposition, effectively putting the matter to rest, for the time being at least. It felt like everything had been swept under the rug and the world moved on. For those who don't know, their feud started when XXXTentacion accused Drake of stealing his flow. Back in 2017, when X released his breakout hit Look at Me, it quickly became a viral sensation. Not long after, Drake dropped a track that many felt mimicked the exact same style and flow as X's song. Drake's version sparked outrage among X's fans, who accused him of jacking the young artist's sound. X himself wasn't shy about calling Drake out. He blasted him all over social media, accusing him of being a culture vulture who leeches off up-and-coming artists to boost his own career. X made it clear he didn't want Drake jumping on his wave or doing any remixes to his music. "I built my career on my own," X said in multiple rants, "and you're not about to piggyback off what I created." The beef only grew more intense as X continued dragging Drake publicly.
If he would have showed that he's a hospitable person and that he's really in this shit for the culture, rather than being a fuck taking my running off with it and then putting it on his album, then he would have got my kudos, he would have got my respect.
I can't respect a that I got plastic. Bro, Drake look like he got Drake when they got plastic surgery.
Then tragically, X was offed in June 2018, leaving fans to connect dots between his death and the unresolved tension with Drake. Adding fuel to the fire, fans pointed to moments in Drake's work that seemed eerily suspicious. For example, in the music video for Sicko Mode, his collaboration with Travis Scott, there's a scene where a comet crashes from the sky and crushes a man who some fans believe resembles XXXTentacion.
I did half a Zan, 13 hours till I land, had me out like a light.
Many people felt this was a disrespectful jab at X, given the timing and imagery. Drake, of course, stayed silent on the accusations, choosing to ignore the speculation entirely. But it didn't stop there. Drake's track Mob Ties added another layer to the rumors with lyrics like Louis bags in exchange for body bags. Fans couldn't help but wonder if this was another cryptic reference to the drama. Another track that's drawn a lot of attention is On BS from Drake's Her Loss album. Some of the lines in the song have people speculating that Drake might be dropping subtle references or Easter eggs about XXXTentacion's death. One of the most talked about lines goes, "Damn, maybe I should break that 20. Do a 10, maybe I should break that 10. Do a 5, then if it gets live, do a 5 again."
20, do a 10, maybe I should break that 10, do a 5, then if it gets live, do a 5 again.
Fans claim that if you break it down, it adds up to something potentially sinister. Breaking a 20 into two 10s and then adding two 5s gives you another 10, leaving you with three 10s. And what's XX in Roman numerals? That's right, 3 10s. While it might sound far-fetched to some, conspiracy theorists are convinced that Drake was sneakily referencing X with this line. But it's the next lyric in the song that really had people raising eyebrows. Drake rapped, "If he held his tongue on the live, he'd be alive again."
If he held his tongue on that live, he'd be alive again. Damn, my uncle.
This seemed like a direct nod to XXXTentacion's infamous Instagram live rants, where he frequently dragged Drake, even saying wild things like wanting to hook up with Drake's mom. X's public shots at Drake were relentless, and this line feels eerily connected to their feud, adding more fuel to the speculation fire. Meanwhile, Kendrick Lamar's fans have also brought him into the mix. Some are pointing to the opening line of Kendrick's Not Like Us music video where he says, "I see dead people."
What's the password?
I see dead people.
The phrase left people wondering, was Kendrick taking a shot at Drake, subtly implying he knows what really went down with X? Fans are theorizing that Kendrick might have been throwing shade, suggesting that Drake's alleged involvement in XXXTentacion's death hasn't gone unnoticed. As people like to say, what's done in the dark eventually comes to light. Now things have escalated from online conspiracies and memes to real legal action. Just recently, a major update in the case came to light. Dedrick Williams, one of the men convicted of XXXTentacion's murder, is filing an appeal. In his appeal brief, Williams' attorney Mauricio Padilla is bringing up Drake's name, suggesting that X's feud with Drake wasn't properly investigated and could point to an alternative suspect. Williams, along with 2 other men, was sentenced to life in prison in 2023 for first-degree murder and armed robbery. But now, his lawyer is trying to create reasonable doubt by arguing that law enforcement failed to fully explore X's public beef with Drake. Padilla told Law and Crime Network, a defendant has every right to defend themselves, to show reasonable doubt wherever it may be, and to fully investigate and articulate to the jury an alternative defense. In simpler terms, he's not outright accusing Drake of being directly involved in X's murder. Instead, he's pointing out that the investigation may have been sloppy and that powerful forces, like Drake's record label, might have shielded him from deeper scrutiny.
He had feuds, ongoing public feuds, with not only Drake, but a lot of rappers that are either signed to OVO or related to Drake in some way. And I had to lay that all out in detail. The court was fully aware of my theory of defense.
The whole situation has definitely taken a wild turn, and some people are starting to believe that Drake might actually have been involved. As unassuming as Drake might seem, he's not someone to be underestimated. Let's take a closer look at some of the sketchy individuals Drake has been associated with, like the rapper Top 5, whose real name is Hassan Ali. Top 5 is a member of the Go Get 'Em gang and is best known for his ties with Drake, even claiming to be Drizzy's personal shooter.
So you the streets. You're the streets.
Yeah, I'm Drake's shooter.
Oh,
I'm not lying to you. Anybody disrespect Drake, I'm shooting you.
damn. Damn, okay.
Top 5's career got a significant boost when Drake reposted him on Instagram and mentioned him in songs. They were seen together multiple times, confirming their bond was more than just a name drop. With a cosign from not just the biggest rapper in his city, but arguably the biggest artist in the world, Top 5 seemed poised to take over Toronto's rap scene. However, his ties to the streets prevented him from reaching his full potential. Top 5 led the GGG gang from the jungle, allied with the Upper Jane and Driftwood neighborhoods. However, Top 5's need for clout got the better of him. He was also known for dissing ops on social media and threatening to snatch rival rappers' chains. This made him a real problem for his enemies and one of the most hated rappers in Toronto. Top 5 really got himself into a wild situation with the law after he went live while on the run for Emder. It all started on January 31st, 2021, when a college student named Hashim Omar Hashim was heading out to grab dinner with a few friends. He came back to his place around 9 p.m., parked in the building's garage, and was about to swipe his pass to get in. That's when someone ran up on him from behind, shot up his car, and K-worded him.
Hashim Omar Hashi. The young man was shot multiple times as he drove his car into the parking garage here at 40 Falstaff Avenue near Jane Street last Sunday.
The police later found a black 2017 Honda Civic that had been set on fire not too far from the Emder scene. The Honda matched the description of the car used in the shooting, and the cops figured it belonged to the shooter. At first, the police were baffled. Hashim was just a college student with no gang ties or criminal record. He was studying to be an accountant at Humber College and wasn't known to have any enemies. Yet, he was clearly targeted, as he was the only one in the car and got caught completely off guard. The area where Hashim lived was notorious for gun violence, and initially the cops thought maybe he was K-worded by mistake. But soon enough, an arrest was made. Not long after Hashim's Emder, Top 5 was on Global News talking about his rap career. He told the reporter that he wasn't really about that life he rapped about and did it all for money and attention. The news segment, titled "Meet the Black Canadian Artist Pushing for More Change," came in the wake of the George Floyd movement. The clip painted a picture of Top 5 trying to reform and help his community fight against violence.
Because you don't want to ego somebody else to go do some retaliate, like rapping less about violence. And we're getting to that, you know what I mean? We're getting into the industry. We're out here, we're trying to make the right records.
But in reality, he had just been involved in an execution-style emder of an innocent member of his community. It's possible that Top 5 got wind that the police were onto him and tried to clean up his image before they made an arrest. But the news segment didn't fool the cops, and a week later, he was charged with accessory to Emder. However, the police didn't have enough evidence to hold him, so he got released on bail. He was placed on house arrest and had to wear an ankle monitor. He was also banned from using any social media platforms, although his management team could still post on his behalf. But Top 5 wasn't out for long. In May, the police upgraded his charges from accessory to Emder to first-degree Emder after they found out he had cut off his ankle monitor and gone on the run. Instead of laying low, Top 5 popped up on social media like nothing had happened. He went on IG Live, chatted with fans, showed himself drinking and working in the studio, and generally acted as if everything was normal. He claimed the allegations against him were false and that it was all a big misunderstanding. He even called out Toronto's mayor, asking for a sit-down, but also insulted him by calling him a goof and saying he's the one who really runs Toronto. The post got so much attention that the mayor responded, telling Top 5 to turn himself in. Of course, Top 5 didn't listen and instead pulled a Tay-K by dropping a music video called Movie featuring YG and Bundog, which quickly racked up millions of views. All this flexing led to his downfall, and the police caught up with Top 5 in Los Angeles in October 2021. Another well-known figure in Drake's inner circle is Chubbs, often referred to as muscle and head of security. Chubbs has a deep-rooted history in the streets, stemming from a crew he ran with on Toronto's east side. Drake frequently mentions Chubbs as the guy on his team who would handle the dirty work, and Chubbs himself has backed this up, saying in an interview, "I'm not ever gonna let nothing happen to him."
All good, Chubbs will look around, find one to see my type. Damn, my dog and he know what I like.
There are even rumors that Chubbs has run up on people in Toronto wearing anti-Drake clothing and dealt with them harshly. It's pretty much common knowledge that Chubbs is fiercely loyal to Drake and would do anything to protect him. One famous incident involving Chubbs was when he was accused of beating up Detail, a music producer who refused to work exclusively for Drake.
The guy who's suing him is a very famous producer and rapper, Detail. He says that Drake organized a beatdown on him in his backyard. You know, Drake's famous backyard with the pool where he has all the parties.
In retaliation, Detail was invited to Drake's Calabasas mansion, where Chubbs allegedly met him at the door and broke his jaw. This kind of behavior shows the lengths to which Chubbs will go to defend Drake and keep things in line.
And Drake's bodyguard, whose name is Chubbs, just cold cocks him, breaks his jaw, and then he screams. He screams, "I will beat all your including your I don't give a I will hit you again. Do you think Drake is soft? You think Drake's a punk?"
There's no denying that Drake has connections with some dangerous individuals, ready to act if things go south. Drake has shown he's not afraid to use his crew to handle anyone who disrespects him. Most of this dirty work happened during Drake's rise to fame, so they probably don't have much to worry about these days. And whether or not Drake is an actual mob boss, that is still up for debate.